Hey, hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, this is one of three, this is three of three actual webinars. And so I just wanted to say I'm so thankful to be here with you today. I appreciate the journey that we've been on. And so I would love today to talk about Live Rich, Spread Wealth Success Systems. I know that Ollie has already introduced me, and like I said, this is the third part of three. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this webinar. This has been a webinar. This series is something that we collaborated to provide Mile Organization. We really believe in what Mile is doing with bringing knowledge to leaders and entrepreneurs and focusing on the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. And so as a result of that, we wanted to say, well, what is it that we can do to serve you in the best way? So if you've been part of these webinars, then you have been able to understand that we've talked about soul to soul. What is it to really live your life in the fullest way? What is special about you and your fingerprint? And I really don't, it doesn't matter if you are in middle management, if you're an individual contributor. It doesn't matter if you have been doing your thing for a long time. We wanted to take you back and allow you to remember what is it all for. We all have special gifts and talents, and then we are able to monetize that. And that is expected when we serve humanity, when you serve your corporations, and even how you exist with your families. So I just wanted to, and then we also talked about what is so great about being a master servant, if you will. Someone that utilizes and leverages their gifts and also is able to serve humanity where it's rewarding, where you can find your sweet spot, where when you are able to embrace yourself wholeheartedly, then good things happen as a result of that. And there's no expectation that you serve humanity and you are not able to be rewarded in an abundant way. So I'm so happy today to show you how to lock it in, how to use systems to create your wellness and your wealth, if you will. This is a never-before bonus that we've offered to Mile's organization. We've never done this, and so we have offered a chance to win one of three one-hour, one-on-one coaching spots with me, which is valued at $2,000, where I'll coach you in any aspect of your life or business in which you need. And the way to qualify for this is to sign up and attend all three. Either attend it, I know all these are recorded, so you can attend it and fill out your pre and post work, and let me have that within 1 week of attending the webinar. Winners will be notified after 2 weeks of this webinar. This is it. I know we've been talking about it all this time, and the time has come today. So 2 weeks after this, the winners will be notified as to who was able to receive this bonus hour of coaching with me. And I'll tell you, I am so excited to serve you. And so if you want to know how to get the pre-work over to our organization, please send it to Seema@liverichspreadwealth.com. We want to know what is your definition of a system in your business and your life, and then detail an existing system that you have in your business at this time. So it's just an opportunity to just really look at systems and how it serves you in the long run and in the short run. Today, I'm going to actually turn this thing off. Today we're going to look at, I'm trying to get this good, wonderful. Today we're going to look at what is a system and why is it vital to have systems in your business and in your life. And also, you know, I am excited. I love systems. I just say really great things about systems. I'm in love with systems. And people are like, why are you so excited about systems? And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Because I do know that as a result of my success, I've been able to look back on my life. And I know that if it wasn't for systems in my life and in my business, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm going to show you how to create systems at home and using systems to delegate at work. I will also show you the most common systems that are used at work. And then I'll show you my secret for success, my formula, if you will. The formula that speaks about dreams plus actions times systems equal predictable results. What you'll receive as a result of us being here together is you'll understand what a system is and how to make it work for you and how to make your life more easy and your work more profitable. You'll identify what you want to achieve in your life and how to achieve your goals consistently using systems. I will show you how you can create your systems at home in your personal life. And you would think that, what in the world, why is this so important from a personal perspective? And what I'll tell you is that I've been an astute businesswoman for many, many years. And this is actually the part that allowed me to really be able to live consistently and get the results that I want when I actually applied these systems that work so well for me in business to my life. And understanding what and why to delegate. How does that serve you to actually be able to utilize community and utilize team in getting your goals achieved? And how you're able to delegate. Identify systems you need to run your business efficiently. So let's talk about what is a system and why it's important. At the end of the day, when you don't have systems, you can't sell your business. You don't really get the results that you so desire. Not repeatedly. Sometimes you'll get the results you want, and then sometimes you'll get the results that you don't want, because there's no way to really track how you can line things up ongoingly to have predictable results. When you want to build a viable system, which you can run over a long period of time, when you want to build a viable business which can run over a period of time, you want to be able to have the things in place so that whether you're there or not, your business can be successful. Okay, and that you'll know what success looks like. When I started my business, I had to look at what was my criteria for success. What kind of business did I want to create for myself? And I encourage you, whether you're in your career or your business, to look at what is it that you're going to get in. Why are you in this business? How are you serving in your business? Not only how you're serving, but how is your business actually serving you? How is your career serving you? Look at your values. Identify what your priorities are. And I want to tell you why this isn't so important to look at your values and priorities, because once you look at what you value the most, and once you look at your highest priorities, that will also allow you to identify what systems will serve you in the best way. All systems, there's systems for everything, and we're going to go through quite a few of those today just to give you some exposure to what I'm talking about. But I will tell you that you don't have to be a slave to a system. You really want to look at what is going to serve you in the best way. There are systems that work for the person on your left or the person on your right. And what I encourage you to do is understand what will serve you in the best way. Don't look to your left or your right. Then when you're able to identify systems as you go out there in some things that we talk about, you look at how do you cater it to really support you. Okay, so that's one of the things I just want you to really be clear on, because oftentimes people think, well, why in the world are you so excited about it? Well, it's because I understand that systems have been around forever. And whether we know it or not, we live within systems. I mean, that's just how it is. They're powerful. And it's something that we could actually bring into our own life, into our own community, into our own work areas. And when we're able to leverage systems that work well for our business so that it always supports our values, it always supports our priorities, it always consistently delivers to our clients so that it is predictable, and they are always getting the same results they got today, they're going to get yesterday, they're going to get 5 years ago, and they're going to get 5 years from now. That is definitely a gift that I would love to share with you and explore with you on how to achieve that ultimately. Moving from worker bee to queen bee, or king bee, if you will. When we started our business, we did everything from, if you're an entrepreneur, you do everything from answering the phones. I mean, you are it. You answer the phones, you do the work, you deliver on the services, you sell the services, you do all your administrative work. I mean, when you first start your business, you are it. And you do a lot of tactical activities, day-to-day activities. When you actually start increasing your revenues, or you start understanding what it is to allow yourself to be successful, this is the time where you need to focus on what's next for you. How can I get deeper into the market, and how can I systemize it? Some ways you can do this is having an assistant. Here's a tip. If what you're doing does not work and result in revenue for your company, then you need to get someone else to do it. So as a CEO of your business, as an entrepreneur, or as an entrepreneur leading an area in a major business. Do the tasks that will allow you to be most effective. And when we're talking about business, that really has a lot to do with revenue generation. It doesn't really serve you ultimately to be stuck in the minutia of administrative tasks if they don't in essence lead to the ultimate revenue generation tasks. There are things that are going to be needed in your business that has to be done. You can't get away from it. However, you want to be smart about it. So if you're able to focus on the things that will build relationships in your business, that will allow you to do business development as well as close sales, then it will definitely serve you to pay someone to be able to do the things that are administrative, to be able to support you in your gifts and support you in your revenue generating activities. The money that you pay them will be more than enough incentive for you to benefit from it. If you are stuck in the minutia and you're not able to leave your house or you're not able to get out there in front of your clients, then that's missed opportunity. So we'll talk about how to really be able to create an infrastructure in your business so that you can focus on the things that are most important to you. What is a system? At the end of the day, a system is an arrangement of many parts that work together. It's a way of organizing something according to certain ideas and principles, a plan, a method. There is no point to systemizing your business if you do not have an impact. Some of the reasons for you to systemize your business include making it more efficient, freeing up more of your time, increasing your revenue, increasing your customer satisfaction, increasing your employee satisfaction. When you systemize your business, you're able to make an impact. Your community in which you serve, you can impact them in a greater way. Your customer satisfaction, you can impact that tremendously. Your revenues. Operate according to your guiding principles. If it does not affect your business in some way, there's no point in systemizing it. So I'm not talking about systems just for the sake of systems. Systems serve purposes. It supports your higher good, if you will, whether it be in your business or whether it be the higher good of your company, generating revenue, customer satisfaction, operational needs. There are different types of systems, and they don't have to be complicated. Some systems are as simple as a checklist. Some systems are scripts, so that no matter who is in your company, whether it be your administrative assistant, when he or she answers the phone, then they have a way to consistently greet your client or prospective clients. It can be when you have maybe an inside sales team. They have scripts that they can use so that it's consistent as to how do they have a conversation, open up the conversation, find the needs of the people that call in, and are able to serve them in a consistent, precise way that generates revenue overall. It can be a process flow chart. What are the decisions when someone comes into your business? How do you handle them based on their needs? Where do they go? Procedure guides. Procedure guides are great to support systems. Oftentimes there's a way that things need to be done consistently. Procedure guides help with that. And let me just share with you, a lot of times I get feedback from entrepreneurs, business owners in regards to, oh my gosh, when am I going to find time to create a procedure guide? And I recommend to them that, first of all, it doesn't have to happen all at one time. However, one way that you can move closer to creating systems in your business is to leverage your employees. And when you say, hey, I need you to do this for me, then you can also ask them, write down how you did it and give it back to me. So that you as the leader in your group, you could actually take that. You don't have to start from scratch. They can write down, and every time I answer the phone, I do this, 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 and this. I say this, 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 and this, whatever it is for them. Or they can say, every time I open up the store, or every time I prepare for this event, or every time a client comes to visit our office, these are the kinds of things that I put in place. It can be anything. Pick whatever it is. And my point is that your team and your support system could actually start writing down what they do. And that can be the start of it. So I don't want you to necessarily walk away with thinking that this is all on your shoulders. Now, when you're just now starting your business, then we'll talk about what makes sense for you as a system. Sometimes systems you don't start off in your business with systems oftentimes, depending on what industry you're in. You also can have policy manuals. And technology also counts as systems. So that's great that we're able to automate a lot of things in this day and age, because that does support your systemizing your business. If you don't have systems in your business, there's no way to actually be able to sell your business one day, and there's no way to even contribute it and actually provide it to your next generation. So that's another reason why systems are so important. What can you systemize? The key to start systemizing the things you do on a daily basis is to look at what you do on a weekly, monthly, and finally, once you do that, you'll be able to create a process map for all of those things. When you figured out what you close to, like if you figured out when you close 2 accounts a day, if you want to close 2 accounts a day, what do you need to do in order to do that? In one of my classes, I have a spreadsheet, and we walk through it in depth, and it's called the cash calculator. And within this cash calculator, I work with the clients, and I say, what do you want to make? And once I understand what my client wants to make, then we work backwards. Because oftentimes it depends on, well, how many people are you out there seeing? And there's a certain percentage of people that will be converted to awesome, warm prospects. And then there's a certain level of warm prospects that will be converted to clients. And so, oftentimes it does open my clients' eyes to see, oh, wow, I'm not out there enough. I'm not talking to people enough. And actually, based on the smaller people that I'm talking, I'm actually closing pretty well. And if I want to make more, then I can follow this system and be able to bring in and position my company to bring in the kind of revenue that I really want. You can systemize how to get in front of your tribe. You can systemize all of your lead generation activities, your follow-up calls, your emails. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at, hey, once I meet someone, what do you do when you meet someone and you know that they are, worthy of, following the conversation and learning about their business or learning about them for a joint venture opportunity, potential client opportunity, referral-based opportunity? What can you do to automatically get them in your follow-up funnel? When I go out, when I meet folks, depending on where they are as far as, what opportunity is for me, I automatically am able to send a text to my admin, copy a business card, and say, hey, please set up this meeting. I don't even wait to get back to the ranch, if you will. I don't wait to get back home or into my office, because I want to make sure that the follow-up is, when you have a lead, you want to be able to be attentive to that as soon as possible. Some people can wait and some people can't. Oftentimes, a lot of the reasons that we miss our sales and our revenues is because it's the follow-up system that we're missing. So you can systemize quite a few things in order to support you in your business. So how do you create a system? And I'm going to talk about at home because, what I have found is when you are consistently working, and you might already be very successful in your career, in your business, and you might find yourself exhausted, tired, just because you're actually working in all different, you're still the same person that's at your office, and you're still the same person that's in home. And oftentimes I say, well, we need to reflect oftentimes, on what allows us to show up powerfully in our life. And, what does that mean for you? Does it mean meditation? Does it mean setting intentions? Does it mean being physically fit? Does it mean, are you someone that needs to have music in your life? Everybody has something different, and I don't want you to shy away from what that is for you. And nothing is too small or too big. You want to honor yourself in the process. And based on the things that you know are the things that you need to show up powerfully, meaning that if you take care of yourself, there is no business dealings that you will show up with a lack of power, with a lack of intention, with a lack of holding the space for a win-win situation to occur in business. When you look at what it is that you need to show up powerfully in your life, then I would suggest systemize it. Take care of you first. I have systems in my life that I always try to work out some kind of physical activity. I do meditate. I love to dance. I mean, there are things that bring me joy as an individual. And I really make it a point to keep that in my life. What I found is when I don't do that and I let life take over, then, I don't show up as powerfully. When I'm rested and I'm able to go into a meeting, even with a level of disagreement or a level of excitement to get to the other side as to what a win-win looks like, it's handled totally differently. I'm not coming from a place of being tired, exasperated, not patient, not standing firmly in the conversation, not really allowing the person that I'm talking to be able to fully express themselves and to honor them. If I'm exhausted, my attention is less. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that of yourself. Sometimes it shows up differently for different people. But I'm just also showing you that no matter where you are, you're a common denominator. So look at ways that you can actually honor yourself. And then when you honor yourself, you're able to perform amazingly in your business and in your life. You're able to be fully present to the conversations that you have in your life. Business conversations are not the only important conversations. Family conversations are just as important. And how are you able to be consistently taking a stand for what it is that you want in your life? Oftentimes, I will say, whether it be the men or the ladies, there's oftentimes household responsibilities that we have. And how do you systemize it so that you're not exhausted before you go to work or when you come back from work? What does that need to look like for you? On what days do you clean up a certain area of your house? On what days do you spend time with your family? How do you incorporate every Thursday when I fly into town, back home, I actually have a date with my fiance. And so that always has a way to connect. Business will always be, there's always going to be business to be done. And I just wanted to take the time out now to show you that you are still a precious soul. You're still a whole individual. And paying attention to who you are and what you are in your being is oftentimes just important. And as I mentioned, I've been in business for a very, very long time. And what I will say is, this is the secret. This was the thing that really supported me in launching and staying on top, if you will. So let's talk about how do you delegate? How do you leverage systems in a way that is advantageous in your business? And also, systems allows you to delegate. And I'll talk to you about how does that work with you, whether you have full-time employees, whether you have vendors, whether you have contract employees, and how do you delegate in a way that really supports you and that your work will still be excellent and not subpar or substandard. Have you ever felt like this gentleman here? So many things to do. You wish you had an extra arms, and you don't. I mean, there's so many things that it takes to get done to be very successful. And for you, what does it look like for you? I mean, why is it that, you might be someone that has no problem with delegating, and then you might be someone that has awfully a lot of problems with delegating. You might be hesitant to delegate. And that might be because you don't think people can do the same job in the same way that you do. You might not see the value in delegating certain tasks to others. You don't know if you can trust the person to be able to delegate to them. So you might say, well, if I give this to you, I don't really trust that you can serve my clients in the best way. And you just never really thought about it. Some of you might not even have thought about that you could actually go faster, quicker with being able to delegate. And like I said, delegation it's not limited to your full-time employees. You might actually have, I always say, do what you do the best and outsource the rest. And outsource the rest might be working with a vendor so that they can handle this part of your business, or working with a contractor so that they come in when the business needs are high and you can actually put them on hold when the business needs are low. So as your business expands and contracts, you'll still have the appropriate support, so you'll have a consistent way of serving your clients. I have this thing, and I oftentimes teach it in a lot of my courses, and that's the high payoff delegation filter, if you will. This is where we look at what are the things in your business that only you can do? What is your unique strength? And what is the cost to outsource the things that are not necessarily unique to you? So for example, low cost and something that's not really unique. The things that I'd say, hey, see how you can get this off your plate as soon as possible. And that's administrative tasks. There are a lot of people that can do administrative tasks that's not unique to you as you run and you're a leader in your business. Filing, house cleaning, bookkeeping, scheduling meetings. Scheduling meetings can be a full-time job based on your lifestyle and what's going on in your world. You do not need to focus on that. You can actually have someone do that, and while they're doing that, you're out meeting new clients. Another part is, and you get a great return on investment. So if you have someone doing these things in this particular box, and you're out doing the things that you cannot delegate, you will get a great return on investment. Then another thing that is not necessarily unique to you is, sales follow-up and emails. People can follow up. You can create systems to follow up with, once you meet someone. I have at least 2 assistants. Some of them follow up in one area of my business, another one follows up in another area of my business. And that follow-up for my business is so key. And as they follow up and set up continuous meetings, as they follow up and, we track where these accounts are, then we are able to I'm able to run a business most efficiently. In your business, you can have people prospecting calls. You can create scripts so that you can see if they're your ideal client. How can you serve them? There are ways that you can consistently onboard your clientele. So once they say yes to you, what is the experience that you want them to have? That can be systemized. You can train someone to do this. And for you training them and them being able to take this on, then you can get a good return on investment on that too. A good return on investment of time and money. Some of the things that might be still not your uniqueness, but they do actually have more costs associated with it, is marketing and sales, copywriting, if you're getting any website development and maintenance. These are the things that are still might not be your swim lane. They might not be the things that make you sing in your heart, and they might not be where you're the most talented. And yes, these are skill sets that could very well cost more. However, when done right, then you can still do the things that are not delegatable and still have your business move forward. In my team, I do have marketing, I do have copywriting, website development. These are not the things that I do. However, I do bring these people that are brilliant as well, and I do outsource some of those things to them. Of course, I'm over the whole thing, but it's a way that I'm not stuck in the things that don't really, they're not my brilliance, and I'm okay with that. And then there's the box that you are not going to be able to delegate this to anyone. So I would like you to see all of those things that you can delegate. However, there's things that you will never be able to get away from. So mentoring and coaching your staff and your team, or even your clients if that's what you do. The unique skills that only you can bring. So when I talked about that fingerprint, the thing that's most unique to you, no one else can compete with you on your uniqueness and your brilliance. That you cannot delegate. Strategic relationships. You definitely want to make sure that you're always feeding and nurturing strategic relationships. That is not something that you delegate. Sales to key clients. You want to be involved in that sales process. You want to make sure that they know that you're there and around to serve them in whatever way. The last thing you want to do is to lose an account based on the fact that you weren't there and based on the fact that you might be doing something else that does not serve your business and serve your clients. You have to hold your vision for your corporation as a leader within an organization or within your own organization. You cannot delegate your leadership. Overall, you are the head of that particular area, and that is not delegatable. There's some writing and some message and some public relations that is unique to you. It actually all starts with you. So these are just examples of what is very important for you to be able to see and look at this as opportunities, and or even just a checklist. Okay, I have that covered. I have that covered. Let me see how I can delegate this so that I can source some more. At the end of the day, what I did when I first started my company, I didn't have all the finances to delegate all these things I'm talking about immediately. And so what I did want to do is I wanted to work myself out of a job. I wanted to see, okay, how much money do I need to bring in to get some help, get some backup, to be able to get someone to help me with these administrative tasks, because I know that if I'm sitting in my office, I'm not in front of my client, when I first started out. So I would look at what that budget looks like, and there's a class that I have, and that's what we actually do. I take my clients through an exercise so they can see what revenues do I need to bring in order to sustain team, right? And how do I earn that for myself? And quite frankly, because I knew that some of these things that I did were stuff that I did not want to do, I had no interest in creating a website, if you will, then I was motivated. I was motivated to obviously generate revenue within my company, and I was also motivated to get that off my plate. so it was worth the investment, it was worth the time. So let me just show you what that looks like, depending on where you are in your business, so that you're able to breathe through this and not to expect too much for yourself too soon. So when you're in stage 1 of growing your business, you very well might be the only person in your business, and you make revenues under 25K. You're not expected to have systems. You are expected to see what works for you, works for your client. You're creating your products, your services, and breathe around that and understand that you're really trying to see, what does this business look like for you. Yes, you should have your values and your priorities, and you should also start looking at, well, what is it that can be systemized? Some people start off by themselves. Some people that are starting in their business, and they might actually have some great startup funds, they might put together a team that supports them as they get started. So it doesn't mean that you can't get a team at that point in time, but I'm just letting you know that if you do not have the revenue or the funds to get a team, just understand that when I'm talking about systems, you don't have to have all of those perfect out the gate. When you get to stage 2, when you have revenues around 100,000 or above, your systems start becoming required. Profitability is a priority in any business, and this is the time where you're seeing that you are having some level of profits come into your business, some revenue coming into your business, and you might want to consider having a virtual team. A few contractors, whether they're there with you or whether there's a global world out there. You don't have to limit it to, just your community. However, I would say look to your community first. And you still run everything. I mean, these folks that come alongside you when you're in the revenues of 100,000, you're not giving them a lot. Because you have a small budget to be able to delegate some things that will help you focus more on profitability. At stage 3, the viability of your business is a priority. So it's not just to make revenues, but how do you have a sustainable business? And so revenue is about 500,000 above. You need a more committed team. You shift from being a technician, like before you were doing all the things yourself, you're working in your business. And then you have to be more of a CEO, a leader. You have to be more strategic in your business. You need to have more controls in place in your business. And controls meaning you need to have a way to track, is this something that we need to keep in the business, or do we need to get rid of it? Is this really adding to our profitability? We might have great sales, but our delivery might be off. What do we need to do to up-level that? Or we might have great delivery, but where are our customers? What do we need to do to make sure that we are systemizing how to get customers over and over and over again, at least being out there in business development? When you're in stage 4, that's for revenues $1 million and up, you have to be able to streamline in your business. See, each stage is a different priority. All of them are pretty important. You can't get away from any of them. But when you are making over $1 million in your business, you want to make sure that your operations are very efficient and you're effective and you don't have a lot of waste. And then you need to have, certain roles. You need to have certain managers in your business that focus on sales and marketing. When you're smaller in your company, you can think about all these things. But as you grow larger and more revenues are coming in, you need to have people alongside you that can go deep and go into the details. As the CEO of your company, you're not, or the leader of a particular part of your division, you're not really, although we might want to think we are, but we're not as effective as going deep in every aspect of what it takes for a business to be successful. So as an owner at this point in time, you have to also look at your skills. What do you need to develop from a leadership perspective? We're going from no team to quality professional team. That's a different kind of leadership skill. How can you make sure you have the skills that you need to empower your team to be able to support you in your business or in your division? And how do you empower them in a way that still increases productivity and also maintains or increases your profits as well? So now we're talking about systems for your business. These are lots of different systems that you can utilize in order to move forward in your business. I mean, anything from business management systems, client management systems, and we'll go into it in a lot more detail, but I wanted just to give you exposure to what all this looks like. And then also let you know that regardless of what it is in your business, you can put a system around it. There is nothing, because the thing is, if you cannot put a system around it, I question, the value of that particular activity in your business. Because each activity in your business does lead to something. It leads to profitability. It leads to customer satisfaction. It leads to employee satisfaction. I mean, there are pillars in your business that support your success, and it all can be systemized. So let's talk about business management systems. Business management systems allows you to look at what are all the things that you need in your business, who are all the contractors. It allows you to say, well, how do you do business with people, and have a list of who are the contractors, what is the purpose that they serve in your business, and what do you pay them. I mean, it's really good for you to have an understanding of what it is that you are leveraging in your business to move forward in your business, and how often do you meet with them. No matter what collaboration, especially for corporations, companies, vendors that support my business, there's a purpose that they serve. And even before I actually go and procure these kind of services, I sit with myself and my team, and I look at, okay, when I bring in this marketing director, what are my criteria for success? What is it that they're going to add to the bottom line of my business? And when I go out there and I'm looking for someone to fulfill that role, guess what? They know that as well. And it also allows me to be able to look at them through that filter. Okay, I need to make sure I'm able to grow my clientele, increase my sales, and be able to have a consistent experience that's associated with the brand of my company and with my fingerprint. And I'm able to tell them that right away. And then based on our conversations, and I'm able to evaluate, all right, will they be able to support the criteria for success for this position? So there are some intentions set out, and there's a lot of transparency set out. And what that allows you to do is, when in fact you bring on these vendors, you know what the purpose is that they serve, you know what you're paying them, you're able to go back and look at the ROI. You're able to go back and see, okay, this is definitely working out because we are meeting these success factors. And you're able to go back and see, this is not working out because it's not meeting the success factors, and there'll be no surprise between you or the vendor because you guys are still marching to the same criteria. Then you have credibility boosting systems. So I also work with my clients on, how do you always have a level of presence out there in the marketplace? Are you doing the things, are you leveraging social media? Are you leveraging referrals? What are you leveraging so that your credibility in your company is always out there, whether you're there or not? When your client has an amazing experience, what do you have as far as systems so that they feel free to tell people about it? Sometimes clients are enjoying your company, enjoying your services, and they're so excited they would love, but they don't necessarily know that, if you have a great experience, please feel free to let, clients that have the same needs that, your colleagues that have the same needs that you have, please feel free to share our information with them. We would love to serve them as well. As a business owner, you might think, well, why don't they just do that on their own? Well, everybody's busy. It's not that they don't want to. It's that you can actually support them in supporting you and be very clear as to what that looks like. So look at all the different ways that you could actually boost your credibility in the marketplace, whether it be case studies, whether it be referral bases, what does that look like? And you can consistently systemize that. So no matter what team is out there in the community and whatever you're doing with the clients that you serve, that everyone has on the forefront things that they can let people know to do to help support them in building the credibility of their company, getting the word out, if you will. You also have customer service systems. everyone obviously contributes to customer service in your business. You, your team, and what that looks like is, what are the scripts that can be created? I'm saying no matter how they enter in your company, what is it that can be done that is consistent? How do you answer the phone consistently? So that you know that when you're away outside of your office and you're speaking to people, when people are calling your organization, they get the same kind of greeting. Hello, my name is Ann. How may I help you today? Or it might be a certain level of music that you put on hold so the customers feel good while they're waiting. It doesn't matter what it is, but what is it consistently? Because one person answering the phone, all excited to be able to serve the first person on the phone, versus another person answering the phone and they're like ho-hum, hi, or they don't even say their name, or they don't say the company name. You want to make sure this is consistent, and you want to make sure that it's something that really represents you as an owner or a leader in your organization. That's all. Even the small things, it can be systemized to create that same experience for whoever comes your way. Follow-up systems are so important. I mean, when you are looking at follow-up systems in your business, decide on what are the most frequently asked questions, and then you standardize those responses. You can actually look at drafting an email when you're doing follow-up with your clients. That no matter whether you're in the office or not, someone can take this templated email and tweak it for the situation. Right? But they'll always have that follow-up. What's your standard greeting to follow up with folks? How do you reach out to them? What's the formality? How formal are you? How informal are you? That's all part of your brand. Decide on what people typically come to your organization and what kind of services they typically inquire about. And then have a system to be able to address that consistently, so that you're not worried about, you might have some folks in sales, and you need to make sure that they're empowered to have the right words, because sometimes people can offer the universe, and that's not really what you deliver. So how can, no matter who asks about what are these services that you offer, how can you present it in a way that's consistent with them? Decide on your turnaround time. How do you follow up? What's the timing on following up with your clients? Oftentimes, depending on the industry, there's a terminology called your service level agreement. So what is your agreement amongst your team, depending on what department they're in, or even amongst yourself as an individual? I will call you back within 24 hours or within 4 hours, or all business contracts, all proposals need to be turned around within a week. What does that look like for you? How do you follow up? When you are actually having a client, and how do you welcome them into doing business with you? Do they get a welcome packet? If you're doing projects with a client, do you update them regularly on a monthly basis as to where you are? What are the things that you can always put in your organization that is systemized? Do you send out thank you letters to your clients? Do you send out thank you emails? Do you give a gift to a client that provides you with a testimonial? Do you put your testimonials on your website? What are the things that you do that you are consistently following up on in order to support your business? And then let's talk about metrics. This could be a very technical conversation, and it doesn't have to be. Metrics are a way, they tell a story. They tell you about your trends. They tell you about what kind of sales that you're making and how does it contribute to your overall revenue. What's doing really well in your marketplace and what's not. Where are the trends where these clients, they loved your services, and then, something might have happened in the environment so that they are no longer, knocking at your door. Well, you want to be able to see those trends and see where you're going with your business, and making sure that you always have a finger on the pulse on your clients and the revenues and the opportunities out there. Metrics they tell stories, right? They tell stories as far as, if you have a lot of folks on this particular team and they're responsible for this particular product, or let's just say it's you as an individual and you're spending a whole lot of time, it takes you a lot more to service your clients in this way, and then there's a different service that you have on the other hand that is so easy and is a great revenue generator. Look at how you spend your time so that it's in alignment with what it is your return on investment will be based on what you're doing. You can take surveys. I mean, there's just different things to always allow you to see, what kind of inquiries do you get on a monthly basis. Maybe you're getting a lot of inquiries, but people aren't buying from you. A metrics can allow you to see, well, what does that look like, and how can you make an offer compelling in a spirit of service, so they're like, oh, that's an easy yes for me. Yes, I'd like to do that. Maybe it's not clear as to what you do, or maybe it's not clear as to what's in it for them. Metrics can tell you those kind of stories. They can tell you, if you have late payers or on-time payers, if you're all of a sudden your clients are not paying you in a timely manner, well, what's up with that? How can you look at, well, maybe these payment terms are not servicing them based on where we are financially in the marketplace. Maybe these are clients that would automatically pay in full, and maybe they might be better served on a payment plan. And even if there's a little interest tied to that or not, it's your decision, it's a way that you can still keep your clients happy. It's a way that you'll still get your revenues, and you're meeting them where they are. So it doesn't have to be business lost if you have metrics to be able to track what's going on. So there's a lot of different statistics, and there's a lot of places you can go with metrics, but those are just some examples. Some businesses actually have newsletters. And I mean, even for entrepreneurs, when you're in your business by yourself, I recommend newsletter as a way to stay in contact with your client. And you can have a system around your newsletters. So you can see from an annual perspective, what am I trying to launch? What do I want to let my clients be aware of? If there's a campaign coming up, and you just look at the year in general. And you also look at, well, what do your clients really come to you for? And what do you want to always position yourself as an expert in, or your company as an expert in? When you have a year perspective, then you can break it down by month, what makes the most sense to talk about. See, systems are not random. When you know what are the products that you have to offer and the services that you have to offer, your newsletter can include a little bit of content in regards to addressing a need that your client base has. Then they can talk about maybe what is upcoming for your business. Where are you going to be? Or what are you hosting? Whatever that may look like. It might have a few words from you so that they kind of have a personal feel to your newsletter. Or it might be somebody you're collaborating with, and you might want to put them in your newsletter as well. You can identify what kind of format, what kind of template your newsletter is, so then you just drop in things. You just drop it in those sections, and it doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to come up with something different, a different way of your newsletter looking every single month. You can systemize that. You can identify when do you send it on a monthly basis, what volume, what number it is, what issue it is. How many people are opening your newsletter? How many people are you getting feedback on in regards to your newsletter? So there's another way of tracking, even down to a newsletter, having systems around that. And let's talk about referral systems. Referrals are very important in any business. I mean, referrals are the most inexpensive way to be able to build a clientele. And while I definitely say, some businesses are only referral, but even when your business is primarily referral, it always is good to see other ways for you to develop relationships outside of your referral base so that you're always out there. But for this instance, let's talk about referrals. Decide what your referral incentives are, and when will you ask existing clients for referrals? Oftentimes, when we onboard a client, we automatically have in the introductory letter that we would be more than happy to service any of the referrals that they provide us and what that looks like. So even from the beginning of the relationship, we mentioned that, we love getting referrals. How do you want to promote your referral program on the website? Do you have a referral program? Do you send a gift to the people to the person that refers you and also the person that's being referred? What does that look like for you? Do they get to decide what kind of gifts they want? And then what's your system around contacting someone that was referred to you? How fast do you refer? How fast do you follow up? And see what they're interested in, like what service would be best for them. So there's a lot of different things. And then do you have a referral tracking system? Referrals are very important and key to many businesses. I don't care if you're a major corporation or you're your own business. There's nothing like a referral. So how do you really honor that in a systemized way so that you maximize that and that you're able to take advantage of any referral that comes your way? Then you're looking at team management. How do you manage your team in a way that is streamlined? My team is located all over the world. My clients are located all over the world. So I have technology that I leverage in order to be able to manage my team. Then I know that we have regular meetings. I mean, all these things are consistent. And I know that I personally don't like to be in meetings all of the time. I like to be able to set the strategy, set the tone with the leaders in my company, and then they will also go into the minutia of what that looks like to execute it. And then they run that by me, and then they're off. And so what does that system look like for you so that you're not bogged down with meetings? What systems can you put in place? What technology can you leverage? I mean, oftentimes we have email, or we have some app systems that will be project-based. So based on the initiative, this is where everyone can give updates. In my company, we use a technology called Basecamp, and that's where we can track all of our projects and who's doing what on what project. And it's a way that I can, as a CEO, go into seeing where are we with this. I don't always need to have a conversation with my team because a lot of that's transparent. But then obviously there's nothing like having those meetings and making sure, honestly, that your team is okay. I'll meet with my leaders on my team just to make sure that they're okay, they're fine, and what can I support them with? I don't always try to assume that everything is okay. I try to systemize how often I touch base with my team members to make sure that these things are going smoothly. Honoring that, yes, they're there as employees or as contractors or whatever role that they fulfill, and they're also partners in the business of my business and helping to make more powerful impacts with our content, with our messaging. So what is it that you want to systemize in your business with your team? And what does the workflow look like? You know, how does it work? I mean, when I will actually triage things. When I have an opportunity, if there's a client that wants to coach with me, then the workflow is that I goes to this particular person in my company. If there's a client that is wanting to turn their content into training, into classes, they want to turn their speech into classes or their book into classes to create multiple revenue streams, there's a certain part of my business that when I get that particular opportunity, I give it to somebody else. There's a workflow. I know where things go. And then I know that even my director of content development, you know, when she gets certain things, then when she's done with it, depending on what it is, it goes to marketing. So they can see what it is that is our content, and then they can put the marketing information out there based on what we are able to deliver. So there are workflows in your company that you want to acknowledge. Sometimes you might have this, and it seems informal right now. And I would recommend that as your business grows, you make it more formal, because as you bring in more team, it can get confusing. When it comes to growing in your business, there are things that end up breaking. You know, I remember when I was when I was on this journey in my business, and I had an assistant, and for the longest time, it was me and her. We were doing all these things. I mean, we were, you know, I worked myself out of a job, so I got her on board, and she was able to do a lot of follow-up administrative tasks, and she was able to do website. I mean, she did a lot of things that I did not do while I was going out and building my business. And as we got bigger and as we brought in more revenue, you know, I was able to bring in a team that did the technology part of my business, and I was able to bring in a team that did more copywriting for my business, so she did not have to do that anymore. Well, she felt kind of weird about that because she was so used to doing everything, and I said, look, I said, guess what? We get to work ourselves out of these jobs. You know, honestly, you know, she wasn't the best website designer. Like, she can put up a website in a heartbeat, but she wasn't the best designer. And I said, hey, look, you know, we did all that we could possibly do. Now that we have team, we can bring on people that's their genius. And she, you know, she got it, and she understood where we were going. And also, you know, when we have more business, when you have more business, systems that worked when you had a certain level of business don't work when you have more business, right? And even if you have all your systems in place because your business is over $1 million plus revenue, if that drops, that system won't work for your business either. So you really need, as a CEO, to always have a gauge on where your business is, and don't look at things that end up falling through the cracks. Don't look at that as a means to beat up on people. Look at it as an opportunity to assess the current situation and identify, well, why didn't that work? Why doesn't that work now? And be able to go into solution mode with your team. And as I mentioned, there's reasons, and actually we talked about how depending on the growth in your company, then that's what you need to do to make sure that you are in alignment with supporting that growth. And it does take team. Internet systems, that's another, internet systems are very interesting because when you're looking at how do people interact with you when they come to your website or when they go to your page on Facebook or whatever that may look like for you, how do you capture their information? How do you capture their name and their email so that you can develop a relationship with them? How is your website developed in a way that supports you increasing your profitability? Is it interactive? Is it, are there enough, is there enough information on the website for someone to say, hey, I would like to learn more about this business? Is it easy to navigate? There's a system around creating an effective website. And, and the effective does change over time. There are more technologies, there's more social media avenues. So you want to have a finger on the pulse, or you also want to have someone needs to have a finger on the pulse in your company, whether it be you when you're just starting out or your team. Because, internet is not, people always kind of try to figure out, well, I have a website, like why isn't it working for me, or no one's going to it, or they're not really staying on my website. And there are systems that will more so ensure that people will get the most out of you having that web presence versus not. There are ways that you can create a website so that even if someone's not on your website, then they can, when they're Googling or they're seeking something on a search engine, that your website will show up, based on what they're Googling. So you want to understand the system behind how the internet meets business, meets profitability. And you want to look at new business development. How do you consistently have a way to always focus on your new business? When someone consistently identifies potential new clients, new accounts, new sources of customers, this is important to have in your business. And, I have actually a mastermind, if you will, a 12-month mastermind that I really show my clients on how to do this on a regular basis. And that's where they learn a 3-part process for initiating relationships that can turn into new business and new sources of revenue for their company. Now, sales and conversion systems, I'll tell you what, that is so important. One of the things that is really key is how do you generate a sale from an interested prospect? How do you convert that into a customer? How do you establish a sales force that helps bring in the cash? And even if you cannot have a professional sales staff because you're early in your business, how do you serve as a salesperson? There is a system behind that that will serve you more than hinder you. And there are ways to develop a sales department even if you don't have any employees. These are some things that can be outsourced based on the appropriate scripting. There's a lot of things that you can do, whether you have amazing resources and whether you don't. But this is actually very key in your business. Then you have your media and your PR systems. So what are you doing to actively be out there in the forefront, whether it be newspapers, articles, radio, television? What are the systems around that? How can you stay on top of the news and make sure that your company is relevant based on the topics, if that's relatable to you and your business? What does that look like? Then we have systems around key KPIs is what you call them. And most large companies, it's key performance indicators. When you're a small business, it's key profitability indicators. What do you need to do in order to decide if a particular income-generating activity is profitable and therefore worth continuing, expanding, or canceling altogether? You can only get this kind of information if you're able to look at these indicators. And so you can see where you need to improve your marketing campaign. Are your sales scripts working? This allows you to really be consistent in up-leveling what you're doing in your business and reporting accordingly. So those are just some examples of what it takes to, the different systems that are available to you to look at so that you are always able to have systems in your business that serve you, serve your clients, and serve your life. Now, the systems for success formula. We've talked about, my background and, the fact that I was a millionaire by 31 and have been able to earn awesome revenues for many, many years in my business. And so this is a system that I have taught people over and over and over because I know it to work and I know it to be true. And so I want to share it with you at this time. When I look at systems in my life, and how they've been able to serve me, I can think of the power of it. I have systems, whether it be my home life, because I travel so much, I actually have systems within my household. Because there are things that I own in my household that, I'm saying it is my responsibility to support the organization of my house, the cleanliness of my house, make sure that food is served, and that my family is taken care of. And so what that looks like is, if I need to bring in an organizer, if I need to bring in a housekeeper, then I need to do whatever I need to do, and I have the business and revenues in my company to support that. It wasn't always that way. So, my experience in systems is actually being able to break down in small parts what it is that I need to do in my home life as well as in my business life to make sure that I ultimately create a profitable environment and also a sustainable environment. Sustainable not only from revenues, but also from myself. Like, how do I always have the level of energy, no matter where I am in the world, to be able to serve at the greatest capacity that I possibly can? That's really important. So systems have allowed me and afforded me the opportunity to take off for a month, to not even, to take off for a month and not be in my business and have vacation with my family and my friends. And my business doesn't lack as a result of it. Last year, I was actually away for a year. Oftentimes I've been talking to people about how amazing systems are because I've seen how you get a balanced life when you incorporate systems in your life and in your business. If your business has systems in it, people have a path to follow. They're able to be responsive to the majority of the situations that are presented to your business. And then there's times where they've not had this experience before. Your business might not have encountered this situation before, or this is outside of the path that's already been designated. And that's when they call me. And so, I'd always talk about being able to go. There was a significant birthday that I had, and I went away for a month. I had 40 of my friends come to Miami, South Beach. We had a great time for the weekend, and then I flew to Amsterdam and Dubai, which Dubai had always been on my list to go to. And this particular month I said, this is my birthday. I just have such appreciation for the years that I've been on this earth. I want to share it with friends and family, and I want to explore the things that I've delayed exploring, and this is the time. So I always told people about those instances where I can take a month off. And when I was talking to a colleague of mine from Moscow, he reminded me, he said, yes, you definitely are the founder of Amazing Systems because you took a year off in your business. And what I did is I served as a vice president for a lady by the name of Lisa Nichols. She used to be, or she was in The Secret, one of the teachers in a book and a movie called The Secret. And she's positioning herself to go public. And they recruited me in order to come into their business and provide them with the systems that would allow them to really position them to go public. And when I came back to my business a year later, my business ended up going smoothly. I came back to a team. In essence, if my company was a house, it was thriving. I mean, there was a lot of activity. There were no cobwebs, and it's because I already had systems. I didn't even realize, until he brought this to my attention and raised my awareness that, yeah, this systems has supported me, big time. That I was able to leave for a year and not be, as much the head of my company. I actually served in a leadership role in her company to support that. And then when I came back, I did not lack for anything. We were able to even close more deals, move forward without a hitch. And so systems, I'm very grateful for systems. And so what I say is the formula for success in systems is look at what your dreams and your goals are. What are your aspirations? Be very unapologetic about what that looks like. And then breathe around, what are the actions? What are the actual things that you need to do in order to achieve those dreams or goals or initiatives in your business? What needs to occur? And what systems need to come alongside those actions? And when I say systems, there's something I told you about, the intentions and your values and your priorities. Well, there are no systems that need to be in your business that don't support your values and your priorities. It doesn't serve you. So look at what that is. Look at the intentions and look at the strategies around your systems that will come alongside your actions in order for you to get not only results, but predictable results. Predictable results. This is a way to lock in your success. whether it be in your life or whether it be in your business. And just a real basic example. Oftentimes when I'm on Facebook, I do, like I told you, I like to work out. For me, that allows me to, I think it helps me create energy, you know. If I'm not feeling all that great, I go, hey, I work out. I actually create what I want. And so I'll sometimes post these things. It's just a way to have accountability for myself. And so I'll say, you know, my aspiration oftentimes is to be healthy, have a healthy weight, have a healthy heart. And, you know, I know that the actions have to be that I need to work out regularly. Do something a little bit each day, every day a little stronger. And as a result, I do lose weight and I increase my energy. It's very basic, but I want to just let you know that the system behind that, you know, my values are in that. I want to make sure that, you know, in order for me to travel all over the world, it's best I have a better time if I'm healthy. And obviously, anyone who travels a lot, you know that when you're healthy, you can, I mean, all these time zones, all these different places in the world, you know, you want to get your best if all possible. So I definitely have intention there. I have a strategy. Well, how do I do that for myself? So I create exercises I can do when I'm in a hotel, at home, and that I can still do these things. And as a result, I'm able to have that energy. I'm able to have a maintenance of my weight. And if it was weight loss I was doing, I'd be able to do that as well. But these are, and I hope that this makes sense for you, that it doesn't matter what it is. You can systemize it. And it's the consistency that's important. Even if you've been successful in your life, like there might have been a time in your life where you're the best weight, the best ever, or you might have had the best revenues in your business, and then you were just thriving. You know what that looks like. Well, there's some of us that have actually had that success, and then it goes away. Like we had at some point in time in some phase in our life, and you know, even at the time we look back, we were, wow, those were really good times. Well, what does that look like? You know, how do you lock it in? How do you lock the level of success to your life and in your business so that you'll always get those results that you seek? Now, how do you put that in action? I have definitely assume that you just have to break it down in more detail. And that is time management systems. So in general, what these systems are. If you want to know from a, let's look at one particular system, and that is client management. This is when you actually will get your client in-house and close the deal. What does that look like when you actually do that? You can actually create a client in-seat tracking system. So for you, what does it look like? I'll give you some examples of what it looks like for me and other things you can leverage in your business. And there are some basic things I'll tell you. It's in the details that you can get lost. You can have, you know, from the beginning, you should have your client's contact information. And I talked about their telephone, if it's international, you might use Skype, what's the fax, business email, you know, what are all these things from the very beginning that you most need it. If you do not have a system to have these things accurately collected regularly, then that could actually impede your progress. You know, have you sent them out a letter, a confirmation letter? Have you booked your initial appointment with them when you're onboarding your client, when you're bringing them into the business to serve them? Have you asked your client to clarify any points, make sure that the information that you have is correct? And also ask them if there's anything that they need to get clarity on. You know, I have my clients fill out a client questionnaire, or I just say an intake questionnaire, or a project questionnaire. I have them fill that out so we have all the information up front that we need in order to serve them in the best way. And have you sent your client a proposal for the project? Like, do they understand what exactly it is that you are going to be delivering them? I say proposal, it can be a contract, it can be a memorandum of understanding, it can be in a lot of different forms. But what does that look like for you? What is your system? Has your client accepted the proposal in writing? You know, you might have someone in your company that actually looks at these contracts and says, okay, yes, we have everything. They go through this checklist to make sure that everything's filled out with a fine-tooth comb. And they're able to work with your sales team or work with yourself and say, oh, we're missing this. Can you please get this? So they're able to create a complete file on your client. And what is the method that they would really like you to contact them in the best way? So what does that look like for them? How frequently will you contact each other? You know, there's some clients that I'll come in for major projects and major initiatives, and the CEO or the vice president that I work with, as far as my colleague on this particular engagement, I might speak to them once a week, or I might speak to them once a month based on the project. But we agree with that up front. And, you know, I set the expectations up front as to who I do need to speak to. You know, and that really supports me a lot when, you know, I need to have access to the right people for the right reasons. So also, have you obtained a non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement? You know, have you done that in your business based on what kind of business you have? Have you already drawn up and sent your client the contract? Did you request that your client confirm that they received it in writing? You know, have they accepted the terms? Have you sent the client a retainer agreement? You know, did you request confirmation of the retainer agreement? You know, a lot of this, when you document it, it actually becomes root. You know, it's always going on. You do not have to do this. You can actually have your team to do this because it's so detailed as to what it is your needs are, what it is that it looks like to bring a client on board. You know, what is your client's, you know, do you have your client set up in your billing system? You know, what, did your client pay on time? Did the check clear? You know, how are you tracking the information for this client? How are you storing the information? How they have access to it and you have access to it? You know, do you now have everything you need to commence the project? Who else is involved in the project? So you might have one point of contact, but who else are your stakeholders in this particular project, right? And, you know, lots of times when you're talking about project management, that methodology is in there. You need to really be able to make a list of in order to make sure that you not miss anything. And, you know, are they already booked on your calendar? You know, how do you check off as you deliver what you guys agreed on delivered that same information or that service as well? How do you respond to any kind of glitches, and how do you prevent mistakes, or how do you prevent things from occurring? And what are you really, what are you actually tasked to do? What are you to do? What is your team to do in order to be successful in this project? And then you have a list of when the project is done. You have a checklist to make sure that the client has agreed that they received all your services, that the tasks are completed. Have you sent them a thank you? Have you asked for feedback? Have you asked for a testimonial or a referral? You know, have you asked for, and you look at this. If you have a list, then you can check, oh yeah, we did that. Oh yeah, we did that. Have you made sure that they signed up for your newsletter so you can stay in touch? So what is and the relationship? And these are just examples. You can put in more, you can put in less. However, you can systemize it so that's easier for you. You know, when we're in movement so much, it really ends up being painstaking to remember every single thing. And when you have it written down and you have just a library of systems to refer to, or processes or procedures, and or your team does, it makes your business not delegate. So these are the things that really make you a world-class CEO. To understand that you cannot do it all alone. It's best to be willing to invest in training and accountability in your business, in yourself. You know, when you know what you need and you're able to set that intention up front to get the right people because you know what the criteria for success looks like, to get the right systems because you know what are the systems that will support your values, your priorities, your revenue generation, yourself, and you have processes that empower your staff. That's what a world-class CEO does. And when you understand what it is that you need to offer, the experience you need to offer your clients so that they get the red carpet experience every time. And when I say red carpet, some of our businesses are high-touch, high-end businesses, and some of our businesses are value businesses. However, there's a certain way that each client really wants to be treated. And red carpet in this context is that they are treated the way that they're expected to be treated. They're treated in the way that you want them to be treated each and every time. It's really the consistency I'm referring to. And then you want to make it so that it's with ease. You want it to be actually fun. I mean, you go into business for yourself for a reason. Oftentimes entrepreneurs associate that with freedom, with being able to blaze your own trail, if you will. And even when you're in a business, it doesn't have to be laborious. You don't have to carry everything on your back so that you feel like you're holding the world on top of you. There are ways that you can elevate how you operate in the world, how you operate in your life, how you operate in your career. That makes you a world-class professional, CEO, and leader. If that's something that is important to you or something that you do prioritize and you do value, I have a mastermind, and it's a commitment for you to grow a world-class business, to be in a community of like-minded individuals, knowing that you're not alone. It's very interesting when you are a leader and you are responsible for success in a particular division of your organization or your own company. And, you'll fall. I mean, it's actually guaranteed. You're going to have some bad days. You're going to have things that don't work out right or not the way that you predicted it anyway. And so I've created a space where you can be with other leaders. And, when you fall down, you're with people that know, hey, it's part of the trailblazers, you fall. Like, it's just, you're leading the way for others, right? And you're able to not get stuck there and not to judge yourself and beat up on yourself because of it. You're able to be alongside other world-class CEOs and say, hey, that's part of the journey. Pick yourself up. Come on, let's go. It's bigger than you. And you're reminded that you don't have to do that alone. It obviously has education and application. All of these systems that I reviewed today is all part of that year-long program. And you get mentored and guided and support every single way. And there are checklists and policies and procedures so that you could actually, if you are further along in your business, you can have your team look at that. And they can create those systems based on systems that are already drafted out, a place to start, if you will. You get 3 modules every month. And once a month, I actually are there for you to ask me any questions that you possibly want. And it's a group coaching call. That what I love about masterminds is, you can come to the call with your own question, and yet there are people that come to the call with their own question. And so what happens is there might be a question that's asked that you didn't even think about that yet, and yet you're so glad that you were on the call that you're able to, oh, wow, that is something I need to be aware of. It really adds a lot of value. And you also get to access the portal, as well as the portal that we also have at miles.org. So if you ever want to know more about that, just let me know. And you can always send me an email. So systems really support you to be able to have balance in your life, to have more freedom. And I just want to cover the things that we discussed today. I'm so sorry. What is a system and why is it vital to having systems in your business and your life? I wanted to show you how you can create systems, how you can delegate systems, and what are the most common systems that work in your business, and what are the most common systems that you can delegate and why. And I wanted to share with you how I'm able to leverage my own equation every single time. It doesn't matter where I am in the world, I get repeatable, predictable results. I've been able to lock it in. And so that's why I personally embrace systems, because it really has served me in my life and in my business. It allows me to live in a world that I always have a level of joy. I'm able to serve in a way that my customers are happy and I'm happy. I'm able to serve from a cup that is overflowing in a place of abundance as opposed to deficit. And deficit is not always a monetary thing. Deficit can actually be your energy, your soul. These are things that are just as important. You're precious, you're important, and when you are a leader in anything that you do, I want to make sure that you have what will support you in being amazing, being confident, and being effective and productive and profitable. We also looked at having an understanding of what a system is and how does it make you feel at ease, more profitable. I'm hoping that I've been able to expose you to that. And also identifying what do you need in your life to actually be able to have systems that will allow you to achieve your goals. and why, and being able to delegate that. And also systems you need to run your business effectively and efficiently. So as mentioned, if you have not completed your pre-work yet, definitely we want to have that from you. We want to share it with you. We want to come alongside you and see how has our interaction together been able to serve you. Are you a worker bee or are you a king or queen bee? You know, are you able to systemize your personal life so that, you know, the people that are in your life know that you're present with them when you're with them? Or are you in your family life and your friend life and like have in the back of your mind all things that need to be done, and yes, you're one foot into the conversation with them and another foot into, oh, I got to make sure these things are done, I need to make sure the contract's fine, I need to make sure, you know, what can you do in your life that you can actually be present no matter where you are? And, you know, look at what are the systems that you can delegate and how can you work on your business strategically? How can you apply this formula to your business and your life? So as I mentioned before, and this is the final time of mentioning it, this never before bonus, and I love and I embrace the folks that are able to take that action. You know, oftentimes, you know, I have this conversation with my team, with colleagues, and we're like, you know, this life is available to all of us. It really is. What it takes, I've identified, is courage. It takes courage to take action on things that you've seen and things that you have not seen. It takes courage to be honest with yourself to say, you know, this is really what I want from my life, for myself, for my clients. And there's work that has to be done around that. It takes courage to do the work, you know, and sometimes the things that you want, you don't know if you can do it or not. You know, who knows that? You can't tell the future. However, there are people that definitely want to be there for you, that want to support you and empower you in your journey. And I want to let you know that I am one of those people, that I definitely want to support you and empower you in your journey. What you have to offer the world is amazing. And if there's any way that I can come alongside you to support you in that, then that is what I'm willing to do. That's part of my purpose. And I'm very happy and joyful that, you know, when I was little and I prayed about what I wanted in my life to do, and I was courageous enough to articulate that, I am so excited that I'm blessed to be able to live my life every day doing exactly what I asked for. The seed that was planted in my soul as to how I can be effective in the world, I want that for everyone. And so this bonus really symbolizes that. You know, that's what it does symbolize. And this is a way to have access with just sweat equity. You know, it's not another dollar that has to be paid. It is time, but it's a way for you to take advantage of that. And how you qualify. You do the work. You do the work. And actually, this is just really symbolic of life. You know, I know that you've met people in your walk where, you know, they just had that drive. They just had that fire in their belly. They had that desire to do the things that they felt they were called to do. And you might have met them when they had nothing but a desire. That's all they had. And you might have met them when they're further along in their way. And what I can definitely say is the fact that they kept on walking forward in their journey, the fact that they didn't stop. I don't want you to stop ever. And what happens is you're brought people that are there to support you in that. You know, they can't live your vision, they can't do the work for you, but as a result of you doing the work, they can come alongside you and support you in the journey. That's what this is all about. That's why, you know, as a result of working and being invited to be a speaker here with you and having this 3-part series, that's why I'm here. Because if there's any way that any of this information was able to serve you, if there's any way that you do the work, you keep on walking, and I can come alongside you and support you in that, that's what I would love to do. Thank you so much for being here. And Ali, that is the conclusion of our 3 of 3 webinar today. Ali?
Hello, Melissa, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, you can hear me now. Just a second, I think I have unplugged my microphone. Let me see if it is working. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
You can hear me now. Okay, great.
Yes, I can.
Is it better now?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I had, I don't know if you guys didn't hear me because I had been speaking for about a minute now. So there was some issue. Sorry about that, folks. I was just mentioning that Melissa has opened a community of practice on Mile platform, and you can join her community practice for free. I've broadcasted the link on the webinar console, so please click on it. And it's been, Melissa's so nice of you that you have taken the time and shared this, valuable information on the series of the webinars which you have been doing for us on a complimentary basis, and we really, really appreciate that. But folks, let me go toward the Q&A. You could raise your hand on the webinar console. There's a hand icon. If you click on it, I can give you an opportunity to speak to Melissa directly, or you could put your questions in the question box. I see there are questions already in the question box, so let me go straight to the box. There's a short one. Melissa, can systems be constructive in absence of policies and process flows?
It depends on the system. It depends on where your business is. At the end of the day, your systems do need to be supported by policies and process flows, especially if you're a bigger organization. So, like I said, systems can be as simple as a checklist if you're just starting out. However, the bigger your business gets and the more revenue you bring in and the more people that you have, policies and process flows are essential.
Okay. There's another one. Okay, I'll take this one. In context of spreading wealth, it is commonly said that money is in the list. That is building an opt-in list of contacts to establish a relationship with your database of contacts. In this age of information of overload, where email loads in your inbox is being considered spam, how much engagement is considered legal with our list?
Well, first of all, the list, I mean, you need to understand your tribe and what does that look like as far as your level of communication with them. So in order for you to even build a list, there's a lot of technology out there where they have to say, yes, we want to hear from you. So number one, you should have some mechanisms on your list that allow someone to opt in to say, yes, I want to get constant communication from you. I'm signing up for that. And then you just need to understand what it is that makes sense for your tribe. Some people do a newsletter once a month, twice a month. Some people do little dailies, gives their list a little bit of inspiration. And then you have an opportunity for them, they have an opportunity to check into and to say what do they want to get. I know I have on my list, there's an opportunity for someone to get something on a daily basis. There's an opportunity for them to get a newsletter once a month. And so if they don't want something on a daily basis, they can say, no, I don't want this, but I want this. They can actually decide how they want to consistently be communicated to. And you can actually just track their patterns. If you have someone that gets information from you on a regular basis and your clientele, and you know this is your clientele, they don't want that level of constant communication, then you'll draw it back a little bit. So that does depend on who your tribe is. There's times where I've had my dailies, and some people are like, oh, we don't want it every day, and so they opt out of that, but they want it to be on other things. And then I've gone to some conferences, and people are like, we love it, oh my goodness, I'm so inspired. I mean, so you need to just understand your tribe, listen to their feedback, but most importantly, they need to say yes, that they want to get constant communication from you. So whatever mechanism that happens to be, allow them to choose you. And that's where it starts, because it's really not just about the list, it's about the relationship.
Okay, absolutely. Let me see. There's another one. Could you recommend any off-the-shelf systems or applications to manage sales leads?
Oh, there's quite a, I mean, there's a lot of, it just depends on it really depends on your organization. I mean, there's small businesses can use something called oneshoppingcart.com, and I don't know what you guys actually have access to. There's larger small businesses use an application called Infusionsoft. There's large organizations that use an application called Siebel. It's a more expensive option. There are a lot of client relationship management systems, CRMs. There are some organizations that use Salesforce.com. I mean, there are quite a few of them. Most importantly is not only the application, but what are the features that will support your business in the best way. Sometimes there are CRMs, customer relationship management applications that will remind you to do follow-up. There are some that you just track, what it is that you talked about with them. There are some that you're able to tag because when you talk to them, this is something that they express interest in. So when you have some more things to talk about or some more offers in that area, then you know to get into your application and query who wanted to know more about this. And you can actually call them up and let them know what's going on. It's really the features and the functionality that will, there's lots of different CRMs that you can choose from, but those are just an example. I'll hear you talking. I can't hear you.
Melissa, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that again. I was just saying, folks, if you want to speak to Melissa, you could raise your hand and I can unmute you, but let me go back to the question box. There is another one. Melissa, do you prefer virtual contacts interface with your staff, or you believe systems cannot replace a feel of handshake? What is your preference?
Yeah, so preference is, well, the nature of my business is international. So, that's why I am kicking off a world tour in 2 weeks, because as I tell my clients, you need to go where your clients are. You need to hang out where they hang out and associate with them in areas where they are very familiar. And then when you want to have something, they'll come to your party, they'll come to your event, and they'll come to do business with you. So there is an aspect of your business where you cannot hide behind technology. Technology supports you to continue the relationship. And there's a different kind of relationship development if it's solely through technology and solely through virtual. And that is a relationship that builds over time. However, what I have experienced is, even if I did not necessarily meet that person when I was in that particular country, the fact that they knew that I came to their country really went a long way. And so it's a balance. I know that a lot of my team is all over the world, so we'll do Skype. I don't want to just settle on technology, but there are technologies that are quite advanced so that you can be face-to-face with someone and they get your essence, they get your aura, you can read how they're feeling. So it allows us to expand our universe so much greater. However, there's no way around that personal touch at all.
There's another interesting one. Most of our management team lacks in follow-ups because of workload. So what tips would you advise and or recommend to remain consistent in following up with staff members?
Oh, yeah, and that's so common. So I just want to acknowledge you for even bringing that up, because that's really common. And the sales are in the follow-up. So what I recommend is really looking at what does that workload look like. So what are all the things that team is doing? I mean, remember when I was mentioning, things that are not necessarily, if you're a sales team, you don't necessarily have to, if there's there needs to be some templates so you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time you have an opportunity with a client. It's really good for a sales team to at least have somebody that supports them from an administrative perspective. And so, they can book those meetings for follow-up. So once you come in and you have your meeting with a potential client, you can bring it back to the ranch. You can start an email thread that says, hey, we'd love to follow up with you. Such and such will follow up with you to book the next appointment. Sales teams also need to be able to touch base and say, where are we? Because a lot of times when you're overworked or you have so much going on, you're running around and there's no strategic focus at that time. And you think that that meeting doesn't serve you. Well, actually the meeting does, because it allows you to have a level of accountability and keep those priorities top of mind. It's also an opportunity for you to leverage what works for others and see if you can adopt that as well. So look for the best practices. But most importantly, I would look at, well, what is everybody doing? You know, because when you're overwhelmed, there are things that you can say, well, how can we take this off your plate if it doesn't add to the criteria for success for your role or for the worst thing I want to do is bog salespeople down with all this administrative tasks, because they need to be out there in the front of the client. So what can I do to alleviate their workload so they can do what they are positioned to do?
Great. Next question. In your view, what keeps organizations or individuals away from systems? What are the hindrances or apprehensions of leaders for not adopting optimized systems?
Right, I understand. Great question, because you know what? People are scared of systems. They think it's like this big cloud that has like it's like this unknown. Systems are scary. Another thing people think is that, oh, well, it's limiting. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be in a box. And it's a perception. And also, some people are so used to just fighting issues as they're thrown at them, that they feel like, that's how they kind of gain their value. Oh, all these problems are thrown at me. I feel more effective this way. I feel more alive. When in essence, systems does not hinder problems being thrown at you. It's just the level of problems. If you can decrease some of these smaller problems because you've been able to identify a way to mitigate them, then you get the real juicy stuff. You know what I mean? And lack of systems creates mayhem. It creates a level of non-accountability. And sometimes people feel like they don't want to be held accountable. And so what they don't understand is when you have amazing goals and when it's bigger than you, then you want to be most efficient and effective. We talked about, the lazy thing the other webinar. And when I'm able to systemize how I get something done, then I can go play. Like, that's taken care of. I can go play. It releases me. And when I'm looking at systems on how can I show up powerfully every time, it allows me to stay in alignment with what my desires are, my wishes, and my intentions are. So a lot of times it's perception. A lot of times it's seen as laborious and boring. And I would say there are parts of systems that can be boring, but if you look at the results that you get on the other side, then you'll see how much it frees you, it empowers you to get quicker results, faster and predictable results, no matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So those are some of the challenges that people have with adopting systems.
Okay, there is an interesting supplementary question on the same. My manager hates to use our dashboards to log in and can't even remember his passwords. He doesn't like to type instructions. What do you suggest are the best methods to teach or train such senior managers to become friendly to systems?
Well, I mean, there are different kinds of systems, and yes, that's not unusual. There are a lot of different reasons why senior executives might not take to dashboards, because dashboards for some are quite new. Now, they might not say it, they might not admit it. However, it can be, everybody doesn't take to dashboards. Dashboards became popular at a certain point in time, and that might not have been the time that they were at the height of their new career. So they weren't learned and groomed into utilizing and leveraging those things. So, if it's a requirement that that executive learn how to use their dashboard, then, writing down what that looks like for them, them actually taking ownership of what those passwords are, whether they put it in their phone, they carry it around some kind of way that it's under a secure premise, or if they have an administrator or administrative assistant, that assistant can go into the dashboard and print out them what the metrics are, what the dashboard represents, and they can be teed up to them so they can really ultimately, if they're not able to take to that system, they need to create another system where they're still under the responsibility and accountability for getting it done. But if that's something that will stop them in their tracks, then their system might look like their support person might need to go in and dial into that, use the password, get in there, and print out what it is that they need to make key decisions to move their company forward. So you need to make sure that you understand what systems will work best for you, and managers are still accountable to the bottom line in productivity. Now, if the company is requiring that that's a skill set that they need to be technically savvy and own that for themselves, then that's someone that can be misplaced in that role. But even a misplaced person can come up there with their own creative system to still get the job done and be able to perform great and add value to the bottom line. But without a system, then they're just looking stuck, and they're like a bottleneck, and it really doesn't serve them. So they need to own how to put the system in place that supports them, or they need to get out the way if they want to make sure that they're always having that position filled with someone that can create the results.
We can take this one last question, and it's directly towards you, Melissa. How would you summarize the story of your success, and give credit to which most important aspect of your work style in collecting the wealth that you have achieved?
Well, I would say that was interesting because someone had actually asked me this recently. I had an interview. You know, there's a few things, not just one thing. So I'll try to be brief around this. However, the first thing was, and it's not in any particular order, was tenacity. So I didn't give up. You know, we all have goals in our lives where, you know, we're trying to achieve that goal, and we're thrown things that make us feel like we might not be able to achieve that goal, or we might not be good enough, or have enough, or, you know, we might not be well equipped, and I refuse to let that to stay in my psychology. Like, yes, I have fear like everybody else, but I truly am more committed to what I feel is my assignment and my purpose in life than I am to all these illusions and all these negative thoughts that are really present for everyone at some point in time in their journey. I always wanted to stay in integrity with my word. So even before I had any money, people knew that what I said they can count on. And so that allowed me to gain money as a result of it, because even when I didn't have anything, I'm the same person that when I did have something. And people that met me whether I was in grade school and people that met me now or know me now from then, I had a level of integrity with my words. So that was always very important to me, because that's currency in itself, to be able to deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on. The other thing is just understanding that it's bigger than me, that I am on assignment. I'm here to serve humanity with my unique gifts, and to not think about it as it's all about me. It's not about me. You know, I'm here for a reason, and I'm serving a purpose. And when I'm able to associate it with that, then I get out of my own way. You know, my bad day is a bad day for the moment, but it can't last for weeks on end, because there's work that needs to be done. The other thing that I would say is honoring myself. And when I'm able to honor myself, I know how to honor others in the best way. So you can't always give what you don't have. So it's really important to know how precious you are, how important you are, that you have a place at the table no matter where that table is. And so does everybody else. And when you're able to treat people like that, it gets you very far. You don't really need a stranger in essence. And those are just a few things. I mean, my spiritual connection, clearly, I attribute a lot of that, because there's things that happen that I don't know is going to, I know what my goals are, but I have to set that intention. I have to set that, that strategy to accomplish my goals. And it's the faith that you have that as long as you keep on moving and you're serving humanity, that it will be revealed what your next step is. I don't always have the next step, but I definitely know that it's bigger than me. And to be responsible to your gifts, being fiscally responsible to your livelihood. That's why it's so important for me to communicate that, you know, you want to price and you want to negotiate your services and your products in a way that allows you to thrive. Because if you don't have revenue, no matter if you're nonprofit or for-profit, you know, you can't carry on your mission. You know, there's a lot of currency in this world that includes revenue, so you need to be able to be fiscally responsible to how you show up in the world and how you're able to perpetuate the best way to move forward in your mission and your assignment while you're here. Those are just a few. And I also say that no one makes it on an island. I have to attribute a lot of things to, I call them my earth angels. I mean, it's just that along the way when I was stuck, someone gave me a kind word. Along the way when I didn't know the answer, I was blessed enough to have an advisor to come alongside me and to provide me some key information that allowed me to unlock another level of advancement. I was able to be smart enough to invest in myself and to understand the importance of information and access. And so I don't ever think that I'm here just because of me. I know that I'm here because of my forefathers. I'm here because of, there are a lot of kind people in the world. I don't care where they are. And I'm smart enough to listen to what I know resonates with my soul and to let go the things that don't.
Quite eloquently explained, Melissa. And with that, we'd like to conclude this. Thank you very much, Melissa. On behalf of Mile, I would really like to thank you, as you have really shared a lot of valuable content with our participants in all these 3 webinars. And we look forward to remaining engaged with you. And folks, as Melissa explained, this is a good opportunity to avail the bonus that she's been offering for an exclusive one-on-one coaching. We will be uploading the pre-post works content, the workbooks on her community as well, and I will be sending you guys again via email all of those who have attended it, so please make sure that you do fill it out and send it to her. All this will be explained in the email post-webinar. This webinar is being recorded. All the previous 2 versions have already been uploaded on our community, milecop.net or community.mile.org. You can access them. And all of those who have attended this webinar, thank you very much once again for attending, and also the questions that you have raised, interesting questions, and making an interactive experience for all of us. Melissa, any concluding remarks that you would like to give before we actually dismiss out?
Just thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. I thank the Mile organization. I thank everyone that's asked questions, and even the ones that did not ask questions, that